Quite the introduction, isn't it? Hey everyone, I'm Anna Morgan, your career BFF. I am the creator and host of the inaugural first ever Evolve TA and HR experience here in Atlanta, Georgia on Thursday, January 30th. And it is a snow day here in Atlanta. But things are heating up in 2025, and Evolve is the place to be if you are in talent acquisition or human resources. So, a little bit about myself. I have been a recruitment leader and champion of the world of work for over 20 years, and I've been hosting events for the majority of my career, and happened to come from a mother who was incredible at planning parties and events. And it's like at this almost age of 50, I have now been able to take all of those experiences and good genetics to create something really special, and that is Evolve. And what's the most special about Evolve, and I might get emotional even talking about it, y'all, is the people that have stepped up to be a part of this, and to that share the same mission, vision, and value of elevating the human resources and talent acquisition industry. And one of those most beautiful, bright, amazing people in my life is the beautiful Tiffany. And I'm so excited to have you as a speaker at Evolve. So welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Hi, Anna.
Hello.
The energy that, first of all, somebody said about how this feels like a football beginning. And I feel that too. Look at all these wonderful folks who are joining us. I'm so
Oh my
happy.
goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, say hello, friends. Okay. We've got Phil here. He's enjoying the cold weather that we have. We got Chasen in the house. Gregory, he's a huge Atlanta Falcons fan, and
Ah,
is on a similar health journey. So we're supporting each other at the gym lately. I love the conversations in the comments. It's so lovely. This community, like I said, is just amazing. I'm so excited. There we go. Chasen is
there
excited.
is.
I love it. I love it. And so, I was reflecting on what has brought me to, this season in my life and this time. And I was telling Judy Fox about everyone that is speaking has really been impactful in my life in some way, which is why it was so easy for me to curate this experience with a really big focus on diversity, inclusiveness, wellness, and championing mental health initiatives in the workplace, along with what's hot and what's not when it comes to human resources and talent acquisition, as far as reimagining the world of work. Because you have to be honest, things are changing, and how we did things as people leaders 5-10 years ago looks so very different today, because we've all been through so much. And John was saying earlier that, holy cow, it's been almost 5 years since we went through COVID. And if you think about not only what we have been through just individually from that experience, the roller coaster, but then you think about all the executives, all the managers, and then even the individual contributors have been impacted in so many ways, relevant to the pillars that we're focusing on at Evolve. So, we have this wellness component, we have innovation, kind of new age, modern day, uh, leadership philosophies and talent strategies. And then we have the branding and employment branding, personal branding component as well, which is, very near and dear to my heart, because without LinkedIn, without building community, without that social currency and presence, I would not have the career insurance and opportunities that I have today. And that, I think that is a golden thread of commonality among the speakers as well. We all take a very active role in lifting others up and being present on this platform. And that's how we met. And, honestly, I was reflecting back, I'm like, it was probably Clubhouse. But
Oh, was it? Throwback.
the first time that me and Tiffany hung out and just became kindred spirits.
Oh,
Do you
I don't
remember?
even I
My
don't, but
perimenopause brain.
listen, girlfriend, we both have that going for us. I think that that is something that I just was talking to somebody else about, is that somehow along the way you just know that these beautiful people and this community has come into your life, and it's been so long and so many great moments have happened and we've done such great things and made such big impact. I'm like, I don't care how I know Anna. I'm just glad that she's in my life, right? And all these beautiful folks in the chat, we are just surrounded and
Yes,
blessed by this community. Which is so
exactly,
connected to the reason
exactly,
for this, right?
exactly. And I have I've realized, and thanks to the work that I've done with Tammy Cho, is giving myself a little pat on the back around. I have a knack for bringing people together. And it's not just bringing people together, it's bringing a diverse group together that you wouldn't ever think that would create magic together.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm even more excited about when it comes to this event, is just to see the ripple effect of collaborations and cool things, that happen because of bringing people together. So I love that, though. You're like, I don't care if it was Clubhouse or Jamal Marshall might have connected us in the comments. I don't know.
The comments are a beautiful place, though. People will always think like your story has to start with, posting, but there is magic, that there are people I didn't even know existed but for those comments, and we have this beautiful friendship now. Maybe that's how we met.
Exactly.
I don't know, but I'm grateful.
And I was just like, I remember talking to G, I was kicking this off, and I was like, oh my gosh, Tiffany, I can finally get Tiffany to Atlanta and we
Aw.
can hang out.
Yay! You've been talking about it for so long.
I know. And then, life happens, work happens, and you have grown an incredible consulting, HR services business, and just so impressed with everything that you've built, and the clients that you get to serve is so, so impressive. And I know that you work with a variety of different leaders, right? And so one of the things that we were going to have you share about at Evolve is really, kind of around um, thinking about how can we serve HR leaders to lead intentionally, right?
Mhm.
And especially in today's HR landscape, what would be some recommendations based on your lived experience and your consulting and expertise and those that you work with today, would be some tips, to give leaders today that would set them up for success to, care for themselves, focus on inclusivity, but really lead intentionally.
Yeah, that is a power-packed, powerful question, which is my favorite, and it's also a curious question. Another favorite. I think, in the spirit of this age we're in, where self-care and wellness, total health and well-being have been really at the forefront of minds. I think that it has to start. In fact, I was talking to a prospect earlier, and we were talking about this. I was like, "Oh, I feel like there's so much going on," and I was like, "Have you taken a moment to ground yourself and breathe?" Because like all of us collectively, that energy, everyone's feeling it, right? Back to the start of the year. And I said, we
Mhm.
often forget that we just have to slow down, take a beat. How good are we to anyone else if we can't pause? And so there's an extreme amount of pressure that we put on ourselves as humans, as leaders, as caregivers, parents, all of the things, right? And
Mhm.
it's so important that we take this moment to just have a second to breathe. We make our best decisions from that place. We can't be rushing into the day. Burnout's at an all-time high, right? And so what I would
Mm.
say is also giving yourself that space, but then also opening up the opportunity and the space for other folks, for your team to
Mhm.
really hear what they have to say. When we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, it's really about including other voices, caring about the people who are under your care, as I always call leadership and employees, and that relationship. It should be
Mhm.
co-created. And that's
Co-created.
really how that's how we build good, engaged teams who want to stay there and don't feel like they're trapped in a workplace. But we have to
Yeah,
open up our ears and our hearts first.
ears in our hearts. And, yeah, for everyone listening or anyone that catches the replay, like, take a moment, plant your feet on the ground, close your eyes, take a deep breath, 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds. Do that a couple times, and you would be surprised how easily that can help reset our nervous system. And, you
Mhm.
know, again, it goes back to really, what was coming up for me in my heart about building Evolve was I want to love on the HR and TA community. Like, if I could just go around hugging people and just giving them some of my energy, that would be my goal, right? But not everybody's a hugger like I am.
Well, I
Um,
am, so be ready.
Perfect. Well, we'll get plenty. Um, because I just having coached job seekers in this space now, and I actually just got off a call with another woman. She's always been focused on the businesses that she served, and she's never taken a moment to focus on her own career development, her own personal brand. And she found herself in an unexpected layoff, and
Mm.
she's freaking out, and she's like, I am suffering from imposter syndrome. My confidence is shaken and I feel way behind the ball. She said, I recognize that my competition at the beginning of January in a new year on the job search is, you know, that her competition quadrupled, right? Than maybe what
Mhm.
she had if she had started looking sooner or started
Mhm.
building her brand sooner. And that's really what I hope to, you know, impart on the attendees and really give them tools in their tool belt so that they have these resources, but then they also feel fully taken care of, supported, and just renourished and reignited for the work that they do. Because, as you said, um, pandemic burn, decision fatigue, just general burnout. It's not only the middle managers that, recruiters are working with, it's at the executive table. And so it just has this ripple effect of impact, and everyone's suffering, and um, that's no way to live. We spend so much time working, and by just taking a few steps back, whether it's a breath, a day of career development, or connection, right? Loneliness has become a major mental health issue,
Yes.
and I've spoken with many of my peers that have been going through this as well, which is another catalyst for bringing this community together. So I'm not sure kind of what you're seeing in regards to loneliness and more of that burnout. And it's not a take a couple of breaths every day solution, right?
Yes.
Because you have the demands of, diversity and wellness initiatives. You have open enrollment. You have
Mhm.
evaluating new technology. Recruiters are often, overloaded with the number of positions that they're filling. So I'm not sure, if you have any other pointers in regards to, logically we know you can't pour from an empty cup, but how do you start taking action to change and really just be in the mindset of prioritizing that self-care that will help people be the best version of themselves?
Yeah, and I think, I love your focus for this for Evolve, and it's one of the reasons why I like very quickly said yes, because I think that as TA leaders, as HR leaders, leaders in organizations, individual contributors within organizations, we and first and foremost, we all have to be self-led, which includes managing our self-care, which includes,
Mm,
for me as a leader and someone in HR who's in this giving space and we're so used to pouring into everyone else before
Mhm.
we fill our cup, I had to be like, "Wait a minute, like, did I make my medical appointments? Did I do that?" And so I made a personal commitment to myself 2 years ago after coming out of 4 rounds of burnout, to say,
Mm.
"We cannot do that," right?
Mhm.
I watch people I hear leaders in my office telling me they're choosing between being a mom and, you know, doing all the things at work, and it's heart-wrenching. 1, thank
Right.
you for the psychological safety to trust me and be a safe space. So there's that part. We have to have people in the workplace who are doing that. But I think also we really, as leaders, have to understand that sometimes you can shut your email down. Sometimes I used to be on my like bike exercising and reading emails on my phone. Like, why was that ever a thing? But the Surgeon General has come out with, I'm excited to talk about some of this at the conference too, but they've come out with, and I've worked with a partner on understanding the ways that mental health shows up in the workplace, and really it involves
Mm.
centering the person, giving the person a voice. And so what we've done is come up with all these actionable ways that this connects to like harmony at work, connection as people, all the things that we need. And frankly,
Mhm.
that come before the work, right? Even if you look at Maslow's hierarchy, there is an order of operations on what we need.
Mm.
And there's a threshold of you talked about loneliness. It is studies show that it is at an all-time high. We are also in a mental health crisis. Burnout is it any surprise that this is, these things are all interrelated. And so we need
Mhm.
some intervention, which starts with leaders starting with themselves and being honest and
Mhm.
getting the coaching you need or being, at the forefront of leading people first.
I love that. And, you leading yourself, one, is important. And that also comes down to, our mindset, how we feel about ourselves as well. And I think that's so important because, once we prioritize that, then we are able to, show up as people leaders, which then that can foster, you know, engagement, psychological safety, which will then ensure, if we have that, any DE&I efforts, those are actionable because you have that foundation of authentic leadership, prioritizing leading yourself, along with setting that example, which builds that psychological safety. So, Jamal, your ears must have been burning. We
They
were
were.
singing your champions or your praises earlier. So thank you for being here. I so appreciate it. Um, so on the topic of, I would say, psychological safety, what are some tangible ways, without giving everything away because you're going to be spilling the tea at Evolve, but what are some tangible ways leaders can build psychological safety within their teams? I know that we've talked about, leading ourselves, leading authentically. What's next, would you say?
Yeah, I love the power of a curious question and the power of moments. There's a really good book that talks about employee experience. And when we look at, how we can really build that and build upon it, it starts with understanding and meeting that person where they're at. So, meeting people where they're at, asking questions. One, it's so easy when we're busy to, and I've been guilty of this, I'm not proud to say, but to, push off that one-on-one or do, you know, move meetings all around. But what is that? What message
Mhm.
does that send to your team?
Right.
And to have this understanding that we all have lives outside of work, and building a space where somebody was in my office today talking about how difficult it is. They're going through a health thing. How
Mhm.
do I talk about that with my employer? And the fact that they feel like they can is says a lot, right? And maybe they
Yes.
just need some framework. We have to understand that before folks step through your doors, whether they're virtual or a physical door, they have lives. They have needs. And if you are
Mhm.
there and you're a space to listen, we have to, it's that open hearts and open ears piece of really
Yeah.
understanding that this is a person and meeting them
Mhm.
at whatever intersection they come at. If we say show up through these doors as your full self, and then we start putting restrictions and labels on that,
Right.
no bueno, my friends, no bueno.
Exactly. COVID was hard, right? Just bottom line. But I feel like one of the little silver linings from that experience is that it forced leaders and organizations to look at their employee population as people. And it
Mhm.
just smacked us in the face that we are mothers, we are sisters, we are parents, we are, caring for elderly, all the things. And it was almost as if, like, I mean, I hate to say it, but you had that professional persona and you had the personal persona. And, you
Mhm.
know, I personally have been very, I'm just me when I was at work. So maybe I was a little ahead of the curve, and it probably bit me in the butt a couple of times, but, everything happens for a reason. But, I feel a sense of gratitude for that silver lining, because we had to wake up some. And,
Mhm.
there are many organizations and leaders that are still just putting their head in the sand and trying to not acknowledge that. But, I think that's one of the benefits that have come from it. So, kind of thinking, I mean, anything else to add on that based on kind of your lived experience and what you're seeing with your clients?
I think, I really love that we're talking about what was and what is to come, right? Like we're talking about evolution. I know Jamal was an early supporter, Phil, G, all these folks about like giving all this energy as we're coming into this, right? Like I am fired up. Let me not go down that chain. 'Cause I'm just excited, right?
Right.
um, but really when we look at, some folks just want to stay where they are. We had these beautiful opportunities to reset ourselves during that pandemic era. And some folks did, and some folks didn't. Some folks were willing to risk people's safety and mental health by saying, we have this office, you need to have your butt in the seat. And so
Mm.
now things are shifting. We're seeing more folks who are ready to build their teams and allow for professional development. Shameless plug. Don't forget you can use your professional development for this conference.
Yes,
But
and
then also
we are pre-approved for 6 credits for SHRM and HRCI. So, y'all need to just walk into your CHRO or VP's office and be like, it's pre-approved. It's only 275. I've marked off my calendar. I'll be back with all the mic drop moments and gems to make us a better team. I'll see you on the
right.
31st.
Right. And if you don't know how to do that, we will gladly give you some talking points because everyone should be set up to do that and get their needs met, right? Professional development in general. This is so exciting. I can't remember what we were just talking about, but I'm really,
Well,
really
okay,
pumped.
so here's my question. And I mean, I'm passionate about professional development because I never had it. I
Mhm.
never worked for an organization that provided it, literally. And so I look over at y'all HR folks with your SHRM and PHRs. I'm like, okay, where's that for recruiters, or can I join that party? And then,
Hmm.
um, why are we not thinking about this more? Because I know with younger generations, millennial, Gen Z, and younger, like it is top priority for them when they are looking
Absolutely.
at organizations that they're going to join. 94,
Mhm.
I think it was 94% of uh, employees say if their company's invested in them, they would be more loyal and more likely to stay with the organization. And from an engagement and ROI perspective, I mean, let's tie that to the money, right? Because, you
Right.
know, the business leaders don't really care what they're doing. They just care about the money, right? So we have to tie it back to that. And so I guess when I was in the seat, I didn't even know it was possible. But folks are a lot, wiser and savvier than I was back in
Oh
the day.
my, are they? The things that if you're not ready, you better get ready because people will challenge the employee experience and the culture that they expect to have. And if you're saying one thing and you're doing something else, you better be prepared to get called out on it even before they come through your doors. I have seen people ask really hard questions, and you have to. We have to. I think Jamal's making a really good point here, and he has to, right? Because of what he does. And I 100% agree. People can be afraid of that too. And we are both very passionate about getting down to the root cause of what it is.
Yeah.
And we can't tell ourselves,
They might be smarter
fairy
than
tales.
me and take my position.
Well, there's a lot of fear. When we look at DEI, when we look at psychological safety, when we look at how our organizations have evolved, how HR through Industrial Revolution has evolved, there a lot of that was wrapped up in a lot of fear, and for underrepresented folks as well, the way these
Mhm.
structures are, all that, right? Like, and then some. It's a lot. And so a lot of it comes down to the root of fear, but we're not having the right conversations. Um,
Mhm.
People are not moving conversations forward. We tiptoe around things, or we don't say the thing we need to say, or we don't create the environments that are allowing for that to happen, or the safety that even if you do have the environment, you haven't told people in an explicit way. And so they think that they can't do it, right? Like there are just layers upon layers to peel back here, talking about root
Mhm.
causes. And when we think about that, how does that impact the person? It's
Mhm.
becoming a mental weight on folks. I certainly have
Mhm.
been there. Even when you talked about different levels of opportunity. So I'm seeing people try to figure out how do we more equitably give professional development, right? How do we do this? And
Oh,
what's the right level of benefits to offer?
yes, and because
Oh,
and
you're
then
just like,
I think people get or leaders or businesses get stuck because they're like, "Oh,
I
if
do.
we give too many opportunities to HR and talent, then merchandising or sales is going to be
Mhm.
offended, and then they just don't do anything, and everyone
Right.
suffers." What I do
Mhm.
see more of with younger generations, now that I'm such an elder Gen Xer, is that they are so much better at advocating for themselves.
Yeah.
I even look at my little sassy 16-year-old. For those that are coming to evolve, you'll get to meet
I
the
can't wait.
creature
That's great. We've heard
along
so
with
much about
Millie,
her.
my real favorite daughter. Just kidding. Y'all don't tell her I said that if you see her.
She might
But
have just heard you. I don't know.
no, she's off taking a nap, probably scrolling TikTok. Anyway, uh, I just think that we get stuck. We get in our own head. Thankfully, that many of us are much better at advocating for ourselves. So I definitely see more of that. So if you're listening or you're catching the replay, if you go to the main landing page and scroll all the way down, at the bottom there's an FAQ, and I wrote an email that you can send off to your approving manager of why you should attend Evolve. And now you can add in that you get 6 pre-approved credits. So get it done and come on.
Yes, we'd love to see you. It's just I'm loving the energy behind the scenes and it it's the creature I can't. It is so it's just such this is what it's about, right? We have excitement and things that we get to celebrate and people want to
Mhm.
celebrate as teams in the workplace too. When we talk about creating safe environments, creating environments of engagement and retention and building culture, culture is dynamic. It is always moving. So you can't just set it, like your little timer on the microwave and
Mhm.
like let it go. It has to be constantly something we nurture.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for folks who will advocate for themselves because it keeps that needle moving right along.
Yeah. And the other reason I decided to kind of blend TA and HR is one, I believe like the lines are getting blurred.
Mhm.
And the first half of my year last year, I was on a consulting assignment and I was like, man, I'm going to get my PHR because I know that I know this, but I, haven't had the actual training to be able to push back on things that I knew were probably better for the people and the business. But I didn't quite have the confidence to do so. So I believe in collaboration over competition. And
Mhm.
there are so many people in this space and just in the world in general that cannot wrap their head around that, right? And that makes me sad because there is so much to go around. There are
So
enough
much.
clients, there's enough, there and I've seen this as I've been promoting this event too, where it's like, "Oh, sorry, we can't promote that because we have a competing event later in the year." I'm like, "What?"
I do too next month. I'm here. What is that?
Right. And I
What is
will
it?
promote your event. And I've had other partners that are having events in Atlanta later, and I'm supporting her. And it's just that to me is just such a beautiful energy. And again, kind of
Mhm.
why I was like, I know there's differences between the two, but if we work more, seamlessly together, we're going to be able to support each other better, as well as make bigger impact within the
Yes.
organizations. You have probably been in many HR rooms, and I'm interested to see, the collective HR leaders, how they feel about TA and recruitment, because it's polarizing in the recruitment space.
Mhm.
They either are like, yeah, we love HR, or like, oh, they're the police, which is why we have G coming to talk about the secret sauce, and the fact that HR is not Satan, right?
Yes, her book is in my office. Actually, I have it in my home office and my office building. Um, Gee. Yeah, I think that those of us who are willing to evolve, right, have understood and are having these conversations as HR leaders, and business owners around this. We cannot be just competing with each other like that. We
Yeah,
need each other. Think about, I mean, there is an economic driver behind that. There truly is. In small
yeah,
businesses and minority owned businesses, trying to strike that language, but underrepresented folks, right, who own
right,
businesses. We are driving the economy. That will continue. So think about what you're doing to our economy when you don't do that. And you're
right.
hurting your own business, right? And we're
Mhm.
hurting people at the end of the day. People
Yeah,
deserve to have that impact. I can't serve anyone. You and I have collaborated in terms of like, you are a trusted resource for me, and have been supportive with the clients. I think that we need each other. We need each other as humans, and certainly in the professional space. And so I will hear it on the HR side too. Like, why do they always mix us up? I'm not a recruiter. And I think it is because they've like lumped us in, and HR's become the catch-all. Like, you want me to recruit, but then you took real life story. You want me to recruit, you want me to do the strategic stuff, and then you gave my budget to sales. Where's my HR generalist? Where'd they go? Um, we were expected to do all the things with little budget, no budget, shifting, budgets as is
mhm,
convenient. And it pits people against each other because it creates silos. I
mhm.
love when marketing and sales are talking. They should be talking, and goodness knows us business owners know that. Um, but recruitment, like it's just even, I think about it as the bucket of talent acquisition, and I prefer that term because I think otherwise people think it's
Aren't
very
we all in the
transactional.
business of
We're
talent
all
acquisition?
Yes, which means we're all in sales, we're all in marketing, we all should be brand ambassadors. I know that's like fully your lane. Like, let's just stop thinking in narrow terms because that is
Right.
going to keep us stuck. And those of us who get that, like, we're going to have the competitive advantage. That is the reality. That is why
Yeah.
we have differentiated businesses, right? It's what makes us unique, and why we can bring together events like this and people who are willing to expand those mindsets and further impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just like shook a couple of years ago. I had started an assignment or a gig, and being the business BFF that I am, and the fact that I take pride in understanding the organization and who does what, and so I can work efficiently, I set up meetings with key stakeholders and people I know that I'm going to be partnering with. And I sat down with a VP of HR, and this person's role was to, approve the opening of the position. And so making sure the job description was correct, and, in line with the workforce management, career pathing, et cetera. And so I set up an appointment, and, just my typical curious questions. And I remember, uh, it's you
I
have to
feel
laugh
like
sometimes because you're like, "Did this actually really happen to
can't
me?"
make it up.
Oh, you're right.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, I guess I asked something specific about how the person approves or denies the job description or the budget or the rec, and they responded with, "Oh, I don't really look at it. I just hit approve and push it through." I was
Oh,
like,
oh, that's
"So why do
terrifying.
we have this step in the process?" And they did not want anything to do with me. And it was kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'll give you 27 minutes of your time back.
Right, but to that, like, why are we doing things that don't make sense? And I'm just huge on, like, agility is part of our value system at Zephyr, and, like, I cannot handle ineffectiveness, inefficiencies. I have those hard conversations with clients and colleagues, like, "No, no, no, we're not doing it. Even if we are on a
Right.
shoestring budget, we can make some stuff work,
Right.
and effectively," right? Especially as small teams, HR departments of one, I get it. Trust me, I get it.
Right.
But I think that and what you just described is problematic. We should want the
Mhm.
curiosity because when you just push that button, what is that doing to then those are the same folks who will complain about not getting quality candidates or I didn't understand,
Or
that this is
then when there's like, the um oh gosh, my brain is mushy today. The
it's
the
Friday.
employee relations issue, right?
Correct.
That comes up, then it's like, "Oh, now I need your attention." Like, "What's going on with this candidate, Anna?" And I'm like, "Well, I tried to have a
Right.
conversation." You know,
Mhm.
so,
Yeah, and you don't set the person up for success either, and then
no,
here goes your money out the door because now you've invested training, job ad dollars, whatever it is. It
right.
behooves us to do some due diligence and slow down. Be
Oh my
effective and
goodness.
efficient.
Well, I could sit here and chit chat, and am very ignited and excited after spending some time with you and all the beautiful folks in the comments. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
everybody being here. What are you most excited about other than just coming to Atlanta about
I
Evolve?
know. Yes, I got family and friends, and I can't wait to see and hug some of you who I've never met.
Love it.
Um, Gosh, the collective energy
Yeah.
around a topic such as this to bring the impact, and I know there's gonna be impact that's gonna leave that room, and we're gonna magnify the effects of living well, working well, being well as humans, and I'm just really excited about that. That's probably the
Uh,
thing that has me most jazzed up.
Me too. And I can't wait to see you on stage with Baldino and Rocky Howard. You
Yes.
guys are going to just blow the place up. So much expertise on one stage. Wow.
I'm so
Um,
excited to
it's
learn.
gonna I know. And, that was the beauty that came from like Clubhouse and my audio events. By having like you beautiful humans on stage with me, there was this organic learning and leveling up that happened. And I was like, oh man, I need more of this. And then, just my own experience attending conferences last year, and the benefits that came from those in-person connections and relationships that were built were just so powerful. And I've taken that research that I've done and the people that I've met and those experiences and really just kind of pulled out the things that I loved and left the things that I didn't, to create something that I hope is uniquely different. I've challenged all of the speakers to take on some of my creativity as far as learning by doing, learning by interacting, holding, writing, participating, because I have attended events where I listen to something and I'm like, okay, I'm inspired, and then I get back to my funky little office and I'm like, what was that? how how was I going to do that? So what we put together agenda wise, and I know people are like, why is the agenda not posted yet? Well, one, because I'm ADHD and I keep changing things, but two, I want it to be just like spot on and make sure the timing goes well and that we're able to accomplish, everything that we can in the hours that we have. So,
Mhm.
um, the other thing that we talked about earlier was, you know, have you ever attended a networking event with the intention of meeting new people, but then you end up speaking to all the same people that you knew previously?
Right. I like to meet new
So,
people, but sometimes that's how that goes.
right, and, I'm not gonna do some cheesy, like, forced, interactions, but, you will have an assigned table the first part of the day, and then a different assigned table the second part of the day. So you're kind of forced to interact with different people because, again, that's where I've seen like some of the most beautiful collaborations, just bloom from, making those unlikely connections like our friend Tabitha Kavanaugh does. So I'm
Mhm.
excited about it. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I'm loving what M shared too. I knew G couldn't resist. She loves G and I talk about Clubhouse all the
I
time,
hear
but
Clubhouse is making a comeback.
I hear
Bobby
that
Umar
too.
and those folks are all in. I'm like, wow, poor Restream didn't 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 get them. So we'll see.
Yeah, totally appreciating. Thank you, Emily, for being here and for sharing
Yeah,
that. Um, I think everything we share, right? Like, I want people to really take away that this is an intentional effort. I know that this is a full labor of love, more so than probably when you birth the creature. Maybe not. I don't know. I've never given birth, but I think, it is
pretty
very
cool.
right. Let me say my own lived experience. But talking about the importance of in a time when it's so supercharged, and I won't take us down that rabbit hole, but I do feel that it's important to connect it, that everything that we are doing and who we are and our backgrounds is diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, despite the naysayers. And this is what we're bringing in intentionally to allow people to come into a space to learn, to grow, to support each other, to be ignited in a space of collective energy and learning and to pour into each other. How often do we get that? Take the
Take the
day, take
day.
the professional
It's 8
development
hours.
dollars and come see us.
Right. Yeah. And, again, take a minute and put that mask on yourself, and join
Absolutely.
us. It's going to be, I want my vision and kind of hope for people is that, they leave with a little bit of their heart, a little bit more open, and just, re-energized, to go back and do the work that they do, and then know they have a kick-ass community behind them to support them,
Mhm.
with whatever comes their way. Because, I have just been so blessed. That's been part of my lived experience, and want to, amplify that and give that gift to our community as they go in and tackle 2025. So I
Yeah.
cannot wait to
Oh
see
my
you in a
gosh.
few short
Yes.
weeks. And
Oh,
everyone,
that's so
thank
good.
you for being here. Emily, Gregory, G, Philip, Jamal, who else? Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Chasen,
Yes.
love you. See you in 2 hours. I'm coming back on live at 5:30. So
Oh,
Kelly,
cool.
thank you for being here. So we've just got such fun things in store for everyone. I mean, again, it's going to be a massive learning experience, but I've got some great surprises for my speakers and for my attendees. So I know it's a short turnaround, but Atlanta's an easy flight to get. Hint, hint, Jamal, let's go.
Ah!
And
Yeah, that would be my 3rd time meeting Jamal.
oh,
So,
really?
yeah,
Okay,
we've met twice, so we've shared
that's awesome.
meals, like,
That's awesome.
he's been to my house, like, we are just thick as thieves.
Okay, well, you need to phone a friend and be like, "Come on, let's go. We need to come to Evolve." Heck, we could add him to the panel with you and Rocky and John. That would be a party.
Oh gosh. Well, we were just texting, so maybe I can influence him.
There you go. All right. Well, I want to
Awesome.
be respectful of your time because I know you have a lot going on. Thank you for making the space
Thank
to
you.
share the stage with me today and shout out the Evolve event and all the fun things that we're going to be doing in just a few days. So, uh,
Yes.
love you, appreciate you.
Love
And
you
again,
back.
everybody, thanks for showing up. And we'll see you on those LinkedIn streets, right?
That's right, where we all play and love to play. Happy weekend, everyone.
Yeah, stay warm. We'll talk to everyone soon. All right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.